So today we're going to do the handover video on this Nexxo T690. We're going to start on the outside and then we're going to move on to the inside. So firstly, when we come over to the passenger side, you can see that you've got your fill-up points here for your diesel and your AdBlue just below that. Opening up the passenger door now, you can also see your bonnet release catch is just located here. Now to show you underneath the bonnet, there's not many things that you need to know underneath here. The main things that you need to know is if you ever jump starting the vehicle. So I'll just lift the bonnet now and show you where that is done from. And with the bonnet open, you can see that your negative terminal just connects onto here and your positive terminal just connects onto this cap here. There's a cap on there. It's a little bit difficult to see on the video with a plus sign on there to indicate that it's positive. Lift that up. You can see on that tab it just connects, and that's where you jump start the vehicle from. Other than that, they're the main things that you need to know, but just to point out a couple more things, you can see that you've got your engine oil here along with your dipstick. You've then got your brake disc fluid, your engine coolant, and then in here is where your washer fluid is located. Coming round to the other side, you can see that you've got your awning as well as your habitation door. Just whilst we're on the topic of the awning, please bear in mind if it is a windy day, you need to take the awning back in. Don't use it in windy conditions because, as you can imagine, it is a huge sail, and if there is a bit of wind under there, it does run the risk of it snapping the awning, potentially damaging your van and harming someone. So it's just not worth it. If it is windy, take it back in. On a day like today, it's fine weather. You can see it's not windy whatsoever, so it's perfect conditions. Moving on, you've got your fridge vents here. You can see it says Dometic on there. That's for your fridge. Bear in mind that if it is a warm day and you've got the sun beating down on this side of the vehicle, it's not going to do the fridge any favours, as this is where it pulls its air from to cool the fridge. So with that in mind, if it is a hot day, I'd probably just pull out the awning or try and keep this area in shade, just to allow it to run a little bit more efficiently. Moving back, you can see that you've got your locker for your gas. Your gas bottles connect into here, you can tie them up, and you can see that you've got a gas regulator up at the top here. You'll need a little pigtail that will connect onto the top of the regulator, which will then go into the bottle and allow you to feed gas through the system. Now please ensure that when you are travelling, the gas is turned off at the bottle, and then when you're stationary you can turn your gas on for it to operate. Moving on, you've got your garage at the back here. Just pause the video to open up the garage now. And in the back you can see you've got your tie down points here, along with your awning pole. It is worth mentioning you've got a socket at the back here, and this area is completely heated and insulated as well. There's a couple bits that we'll go through on a handover that are located in the back here as well. Now on the back of the vehicle, you've had a bike rack that's installed. This is for 2 bikes, as you can see. And you've got your reversing camera, which is mounted up at the top. Moving round, another access point into the garage, along with your 230 volt mains hookup point. Obviously this is where you'll plug in for mains electric, and this is what will give you 230 volt. So when you're charging your phones and using things via 240 volt or 230 volt, the mains hookup point will allow you to have that. So when you're on site, you'll hook up from that position there. Moving on, you can then see you've got a locker in here. I'll open this up for you. Just one second. And with the locker open, you can see it reveals your toilet cassette. Now to empty this, it's dead simple. All you need to do, pull up on the handle here and slide out like so. Please ensure that before removing it, the blade on the toilet is closed. I've checked this before just to ensure that it's all closed so it can slide out freely. If the blade on the toilet is open, you'll struggle to get this out, and it runs the risk of it getting damaged as it is connected to the cassette. And you do run the risk of obviously damaging it and breaking it. So just always ensure that the blade on the toilet is closed, and I'll show you how to do that on the inside. Now what I'll do is I'll just pull out the cassette, put it on the floor, and show you how to empty the system. So with the cassette on the floor, all you need to do to empty it is pull out the funnel, remove the cap, then using the orange button on the back, click that. That will release an internal vacuum, allowing all the contents of the cassette to pour out easily. Once you've done that, stick the cap back on, push the funnel in, and you can put the cassette back in where it goes. You can put a bit of water in here as well to obviously swill it out, and if you are using blue fluid, the blue fluid can go in the cap here. and go straight into the cassette. You'll notice you've also got this little orange dialer here, which obviously turns. This should always stay in this position. There should be no need for you to turn this. This is what makes contact with the blade. So if that is obviously slightly off, it won't allow you to push the cassette back in. Cassette is now lined back up in position. All you need to do is push that until the orange tab connects in, and it's all nice and secure. Now straight down from the cassette, you can see that you've got your first drain down point, which is indicated by this sticker here. This is for your wastewater drain down point. This is the only thing that is external to the vehicle in terms of drain down points, and that is, as I say, just located underneath this sill. And you can see there's this little bar here. You'll have somewhere located in the vehicle a black handle which will connect onto here, so you can then pull that, turn it down, and that will allow you to empty the wastewater. Now when you're on site, and this does go for all your drain down points in the vehicle, you'll have a big grid on your site. Drive over that grid and empty the water. Drain down the majority of the water into that grid. Once you've done that, you can then leave your drain down points open. This goes for your fresh, your boiler, and your waste, because as you're travelling home, the vibrations of the road will get that residual water out, and it's not going to harm anything, so don't worry about that. It's just dirty water at the end of the day. But as I say, that is just done from this point here, so it's dead easy, dead simple. Moving on, you've then got a vent. This is your chimney in essence for the vehicle. It does get quite hot, so just bear that in mind. You don't want to hang anything on there underneath, especially. It gets very hot, so bear that in mind. And then finally, on the outside of the vehicle, you've got your convenience locker, which will open up for you now. So the convenience locker houses your freshwater tank and also your drain down points. It's all nice and easy with the Burstner. It's all in one location. So firstly, filling up the water, all you need to do is remove this blue cap, like so, twist that to remove, and then there was in the garage a little black filler point, or funnel if you like, that connects onto there, and then using a food grade hose pipe, you can then fill up the freshwater tank. You can see there's a bit of water in it currently, due to this level, but the reason it's this colour is it will show you at what level the water is at. Now this will hold 120 litres, 110 litres rather, as you can see on the sticker. So you'll have plenty for when you're wild camping. You do have this red, this cap here, this red cap. You can twist and pull that off for if you're cleaning out the tank, but obviously you need to make sure that there's no water in there. You should only need to clean out the tank once a year. I don't recommend drinking out of the freshwater tank due to the plastic inside. I recommend bottled water. When you're draining this tank down, it's dead easy. You've got a little nib on the top here, that triangular nib. All you've got to do is turn that, like so, and as you can see, the water starts draining down. I'll just tighten that back up into position so the water stops from draining down. But as you can see, that's where it drains down from. Now, there's two options when draining down the freshwater tank. You can either drain it down to 20 litres, which is a quick drain down point. So for example, if you're driving with water or travelling with water, the manufacturer recommend that you only travel with 20 litres in the tank. So to do that, all you need to do is drain that down, and then you'll hit a lug. You'll feel it when you are turning the dial. Once you hit that lug, leave it as it is, and the entire tank will drain down to 20 litres. If you want to drain the entire 120 litres out, 110 litres rather, out of the vehicle, all you need to do is keep on turning that dial past the lug until you can no longer turn it, and that will drain down the entire thing. And as I mentioned, like the wastewater tank, the freshwater tank can be drained on site, and once the majority of the water's out, you can of course leave that open. Finally, we've got your boiler drain down point, which is this blue little diamond here, and just beyond that you've got a yellow drain down point as well, a yellow tab. This is for your boiler, this blue or black box drains down your boiler directly, and the yellow tab drains everything from the boiler beyond, so all your taps and stuff. So to drain down that, firstly you need to flick up the yellow tab, as you can see, like so, and that will release water. And that's releasing water from the pipeline from the boiler to the tap. And then this black dial, you can see there's a little diamond on top. All you need to do, turn that like so, and that will drain the boiler itself. To close the system, all you need to do is turn the diamond like so. So the black nib on the inside goes in, and the diamond's pointing this way. And then the blue tap on the side, as you can see there's a blue tab there. Push that in. You can see that stops the water from trickling out, and that seals the unit. Now what you've got to bear in mind is this is a frost protection valve. So say for example you forget to drain the tank and it's freezing conditions, this will automatically trip like so and drain itself down. And as I say, just to close that back up, you just need to perform that. Just turn that and push the nib in. Now, if you've not used the vehicle for a long while, and say for example you are using it in colder climates, when you go to turn this, you'll or seal it, you'll go to turn it, and then the blue tab on the side, you'll go to push in, and it'll keep on pinging out. The reason for this is this box reacts to temperature. If it's below a certain temperature, it will not allow you to seal the tank in fear of it freezing, because it is a frost protection valve after all. With that in mind, you'll need to go on the inside of the vehicle, turn the heating on, and let that area heat up for about half an hour or so to allow you to then click that blue tab in to seal the unit, which is really good because it means that you'll never get frozen water in the boiler system. Speaking about frozen water, you need to always ensure that all your drain down points are drained down after use to ensure there's no water remaining in the vehicle. Obviously in climates like this, when it's a little bit hotter, or seasons like this rather, where it is a bit hotter, you won't need to do that, but in the colder months you definitely do. Now that concludes the outside of the vehicle. We're now going to move on to the inside, so we can talk you through the systems on board the vehicle. Okie dokie, we're now on the inside of the vehicle, and as you walk through the habitation door, directly above, you've got your control panel. Click the on button, and that will turn everything on and activate it. Also turns on your lights if they are on. At the top, you've got your habitation battery value. You can see that the voltage is pretty high, it's right up at the top. That's for your habitation battery. You know that because there's a little battery in the back of a motorhome. And then the vehicle battery, click that. You can see that it's about half, because it needs a bit of a drive, but it's still got enough power in it, and that shows you your voltage just on there. And as I say, that's just located, you know that because there's a little battery in the cab of a van, or in the front of a van. On the other side, it's a similar story with your water levels. Up at the top, you've got your fresh water level. Click that. It shows that we've got 75% of water in the vehicle. And then wastewater, just down here. Click that. We've got nothing in, so nothing's reading because we've no wastewater in the vehicle as of yet. Finally, you've then got your pump button on this side. Click that, and that will activate your pump. Now, when using the pump, you need to always ensure that there's water in the vehicle. You don't want to be running the pump if there's no water, because you'll simply burn it out. Once you're on site and you've got water in the vehicle, click your pump on, then go to all of your taps. Obviously ensure all your drain down points are closed. Go to your tap, turn it on and turn it to hot. What that will do is it'll pull water from the freshwater tank into the boiler and then out of the tap. It'll spurt and splutter initially, but then when it's running steadily, you know you've primed your system for your hot water. Once you've done it on hot, flick it over to cooled and do the exact same. Once it's running steadily, you've then primed your system. You need to do this for all of your taps to obviously get the air out. Once you've done that, you're good to go. You can leave your pump on because each of your taps have got a micro switch which will activate and deactivate the pump whenever you need it. The only time you need to turn the pump off is if you've run out of water completely. Now, the reason I tell you to put it on hot water first to prime it is that will pull water through the boiler and then out of the tap. If you do that as soon as you arrive on site and then turn your heating on for the water, which I'll show you how to do soon, that will in essence allow you to get that up to temperature obviously a lot sooner. So if you do that, if that's the first thing, it's going to take about 30 to 40 minutes to get the 10 litres of water up to temperature, or the temperature that you require. So with that in mind, if you do that as soon as you arrive on site, by the time you've got level, you're plugged in, you've got everything sorted, your water should be nice and warm and ready for you. And as I say, that goes for all of your taps. Now, speaking about the heating system, The heating system is all controlled through this trimmer panel here. It's on at the moment. Click the button. Underneath the this line is everything what you want to select. At first, you've got the vehicle's temperature. You can take this all to 30 degrees should you want to. You've then got your water temperature. You've got Eco, Hot or Boost. Eco is approximately 40 degrees. You'll use that when you're having a shower. Hot, you'll have it on the majority of the time when you're washing up. And then you've got Boost, which will in essence concentrate, rather than heating the vehicle, it'll concentrate on heating the water. Next, you've then got your fuel. You've got the option of running this off gas. Mix 1, which is a mixture of gas and 1 kilowatt electric. Mix 2, which is a mixture of gas and 2 kilowatt electric. EL1, which is just 1 kilowatt electric, or EL2, which is purely 2 kilowatt electric. So when you're on site, you'll be running it off 2 kilowatt electric or EL1, mostly EL2. If you're on site but you feel like the system just needs a little bit more help getting it up to temperature, especially if it's colder, stick it on a mix 2 or mix 1. And then when you're wild camping, you'll obviously just have it off gas. Next up, you've then got the fan speed. At the moment, there's a vent option which will just recirculate and vent the air that's in the vehicle. But if I was to select, obviously, a power, it will give you the option, a temperature, it will give you the option of having it on Eco, Hot or Boost. And like the water, if you stick it on Boost, it will intensify the fan and concentrate on heating the vehicle rather than the water. They're the main things that you need to know. Underneath here, you have got the option of setting a timer for when you want the system to operate. You've then got the time, obviously can change, and then finally you've got your settings. In your settings, the main thing that you need to know is your reset. The reason for the reset is if, for example, you need to reset the system because you've got an error code. Now, you'll get an error code because, or the majority of the time, because you've selected a fuel that you've not got. So say, for example, I'm not hooked up at the moment, so it's classed as wild camping if you like. If I was to run the heating and run it off, let's say, electric, because I'm not plugged in, you'll get an error code because it's trying to heat the vehicle with something that it's not got. With that in mind, you need to, once you've got that error code, go into the settings, reset it. It takes about 20 minutes to fully reset. It will flicker, it will come back on, but after 20 minutes it's fully reset, you can then use the system again. If that doesn't work, you'll need to do a hard reset, but that is something for the technicians to talk you through. And that's your control panel. So moving away from this, you can see in your door, you've got your fly screen which pulls out, which is the same for your windows. And in your windows, you've also got a blackout blind as well, which is handy. On all your windows, you have got the option of obviously opening them. And you can also put these on venting to circulate a little bit of air flow through the vehicle. Just bear in mind that these should always be closed securely to ensure you get no, the wind doesn't get through and it rips the window off. So just bear that in mind. Now we're coming over to the kitchen area. We've spoken about obviously priming the system and the pump and everything. You can see that you've got your hobs here. They're just gas hobs. You'll need your gas on for that to operate, and your oven and grill, which is just below that. Got a nice bit of storage in here as well, as you can see, and space for a cutlery jar. Now you'll notice that you've got these grey taps here. These are isolation valves. You should not need to turn these or anything. These are just for the technicians to work on. It helps us isolate areas of the vehicle. Everything you need to know is on that panel that I've just spoken about. You have some more storage up at the top as well. Again, really good, useful bits of storage. And in the back here, you can see that you've got your fridge. Now your fridge is a Dometic fridge and it's a three-way system. So you've got your on button here, you need to just hold that for it to come on. And then your fridge will be on and ready to run. It's a three-way fridge and it's a three-way system, so there's 3 ways to in essence use it. Or 3 fuels that you can use to power it. So you've got firstly your leisure battery, so when you're travelling you can run the system off 12 volt. When you're wild camping you can run the fridge off gas, which is this little flame symbol, and then when you're on site you can run it off 230 volt, which is this little plug icon. Now say a lot of people think that if they're wild camping they can run the fridge off the 12 volt 12 volt battery. That is not the case. It'll simply pull or too much power from the battery, which will just ultimately leave it, leave you with no power. So it won't allow you to run the fridge off the 12 volt It'll only allow you to run the fridge off the 12 volt when travelling with the ignition on, because with this vehicle you've got a built-in alternator which will send power to the leisure battery, which will ultimately obviously power the fridge. Now the great thing with this is you've got an auto button. If you select on auto, it will automatically assign whichever fuel you've got. Because you will notice you've got this little triangle with an exclamation mark in there, which will bleep. That is in essence a reset button. So if you need to reset the fridge because you've selected a fuel, you'll need to do it through that. But if you leave it on auto, it will automatically assign whatever fuel you've got. Next up, you've then got your temperature, so you can change the temperature of the fridge just by clicking this button here. And obviously if you click the mode, it allows you to change through the options. Opening this up, at the top you've got your freezer and below is your fridge. You need to put cold things in here because they do a good job at maintaining the temperature, but not the best of jobs at getting it down to temperature, especially if you're wild camping. So with that in mind, if you want cold things to be in the fridge, put cold things in, and if you want frozen things to be in the freezer, put frozen things in there. We're now in the back of the vehicle. You can see, as I say, the vehicle hasn't had a valet yet. I just wanted to get this video out to you first. But you can see you've got 2 single beds, box for your TV as well, and I've just taken your table out for the time being just so I've got a bit more space in the vehicle to move around. As you walk up to the bed, you've got some storage in the floor, as well as underneath your beds with a hanging rail. You've got the same on the other side as well, as you can see, which is dead handy. In the back here, you can see that you've got your RCD breaker, so if the vehicle ever trips you need to come to this point here. This is just underneath your bed. As I say, if the vehicle ever trips you just need to come to this unit here. There's a light in here as well, conveniently, so you can see what you're doing. Got some more hanging space here, and then opposite the kitchen area you've got your bathroom. In the bathroom, as I say, we've discussed obviously again about priming the system for the hot water or fresh water. Now this area currently is set up as a toilet, and so you can obviously swivel this cassette just to give you a bit more space, like so. It's a bit difficult to do it with one hand, but you can see that your cassette swivels, and all you need to do to unclip this is push that in, turn this into a shower. Just push that piece in, and then pull it out. And what I'll do is I'll just pause the video. I'm struggling with one hand, and then I'll show you how that's done. So you can see I've just unclipped that there, and that then therefore releases the door. Pull that round to this position here, and then you've got your shower, which will obviously that will go up and down depending on the height you need it. You've then got a rail around here, which using the shower curtain will come and connect up to the magnetic pieces here, creating a nice shower area, protecting obviously all the wood. Now coming back up to your toilet, as I mentioned on the outside, I mentioned about the blade on the toilet. So the blade is this piece of plastic here. Push it away from you to open, complete to you to close it. When in use, you need to open up the cassette, so we'll push that blade too, so all the waste can go straight into the cassette toilet. Once you've done that, click your blue button, which will activate your flush. Once you've done that, that will flush the entire system. With that done, pull the tab or plastic back to you to close the cassette. You close the cassette for 2 reasons. One, it gets you into the habit of having that closed, so when you come to remove the cassette from the area to obviously empty it, it's already closed, so you don't run the risk of it getting stuck or broken. But it also mainly stops obviously any odours from escaping from the cassette toilet. Coming back up to here, as I say, this will activate your flush. You will need your pump on for that to operate, so do bear that in mind. Up at the front you've got a bit more storage as well, along with your telly and your skylight. You can see all you need to do, push that button in and that pull back on the lever, and that will release the skylight. Again, you need to ensure that that's all closed for when you're travelling. The table, you can see, just slots onto this groove here. As I mentioned, I've just taken it out for the time being just to give me a bit of space. Final things, you've got your e-box, which is underneath your passenger seat, and your leisure battery is housed underneath your driver's seat. That concludes the handover video on the Nexxo T690. I hope you enjoyed.